Seconds. I don't know.
Hello? Can anyone hear me?
Yep.
Hello.
Sorry, my headset died and I'm swapping them out. What'd I miss?
She's oh, there we go. I had to fix something. What did you miss? She's asking for your names.
Oh. Radon will introduce himself. I am Radon. It's my trusty horse, Floride. I just call her Flo.
Indeed. Well then, what business have you three in Haven? You are not from around here, are you?
Does that matter?
You can tell me, does it?
I was hoping that the name implied this would be some kind of haven, travelers looking for somewhere safe to be.
Is that what you believe, or is that what you hope?
That's what I hope. I hope it can turn into a belief, given the chance.
She just kind of nods, and she's not smiling. She's not like, there's no happy, sad, nothing like that. It's just kind of acknowledgement of everything, and she turns and looks at Art and Radon to see if they have anything to say.
And while she's not looking at Holly, like Holly's just kind of make a face like at Brock and be like, "Who is this?"
Given her whole, the way you described her, the way her character look and looks, and the sound of her voice, does it remind me of anything? Or is this?
Yeah. Not quite.
No, okay.
Like, kind of, but not in the same way. Just kind of a, like, you've had nightmares. Like,
yeah.
This is more of a, like, almost speaking as if someone who knows things and just doesn't talk about them. Almost like in a weird way, but not quite like, it's not like the voice you hear in your nightmares.
Oh, okay.
Rolkin's gonna whisper to Hulda, like, a chief of these guys. She's gonna point at the top, like all the guards.
She looks over at, the woman looks over at you, Brolkin, at Hulda, and just kind of, I am Tekela, Duskwalker of the Raven Queen, and currently the one here watching over the Raven's Watch. And she just gestures at whoever those soldiers are who are silent above her. And just says, your hope can indeed be believed. So long as you bring only peace.
Right, if I need to blow myself.
Just smile and nod.
Tekela looks at you, Brolkin, and this is like the first time you've seen her smile, and it's just, the smile is reminiscent of a different smile that you've seen elsewhere. And she just says, she believes you. But what business have you in Upper Haven? You are welcome there, of course, but questions being answered is... She just trails off and doesn't finish talking.
Sorry. Upper Haven is where the library is, right?
That is correct.
Yeah, okay.
You seek the library, then?
Yes, I do.
Very well. She just stands there and kind of like the staff in front of her, hands grasping it, just leaning forward a little bit, but not saying anything else. Just very well.
I'll put my hand up like I'm in class.
Yeah. Those cold eyes kind of turn and look at you, Hulda.
So can we go to the library?
I am sure you are capable of it. Yes.
Great.
Broken.
You wouldn't.
Start walking.
Yeah, Broken just starts
Oh.
walking. Okay.
I'll just follow Broken then. Hey.
As
Uh,
he passes her, she's gonna do like a small, like lift her hand up as if a wave and be like, "Oh, it's nice catching up. Well, obviously, you want to catch up tomorrow. You know where we are.
Of
It
course.
was nice seeing you again."
She gives a nod. I have seen you. And like the raven up above, like the giant raven is just, its head is just watching all of you as it just tracks the group moving in. You pass through the gates. The golem itself, you see it pulls up its, like the blade that it had to the side. In a surprisingly quick movement, it spins the blade up and plants it with a thud back where it was in the ground and just stands there looking straight ahead.
Whoa.
If you're not a threat to Haven, you're not. It's not a threat.
Holly's just reminding herself, I'm not a threat to Haven. I'm not.
I kind of just grunts.
I'm not a
And-
threat to Haven. I'm not. I'm not.
The
I'm not a
golem
threat
isn't
to
for me.
The golem isn't for me, indeed. Yeah, but yeah, you go through the gate, and do you even turn and look back at the golem or to see what it's doing, or?
Yeah.
I will. I'm pretty curious about the whole setup.
Turning and looking back at the gate, I mean, the golem is still there. It's not facing you anymore. There's no sign of Takela. She's just not there. And you still see the guards, like, kind of up on the walls themselves. But you have found yourselves within, well, Upper Haven. Moving into this new area, there seems to be, first off, you're within the inner docks. That inner harbor that you kind of caught at a glance just going by, you can see it much better here now. There are long piers extending into the water, and there's movement between some ancient and refurbished stone buildings and several newer constructions. There's what look like to your right as you enter through these gates, perhaps some kind of barracks, storehouse, and then beyond that, what's definitely some kind of much larger barracks. Oh yes, right on. I think I fixed that. Or a much larger warehouse rather. There's some kind of shop nearby the docks themselves. There's even a few structures that would be new to Yamamoto as well, just kind of extending over the water area. There's what looks like an elaborate pulley system alongside the cliff face, as you realize that 100-foot cliff face kind of comes down here to the water's edge. And this elaborate pulley system, you can see there's nothing in it right now, but it looks like it would service as more or less a dry dock, something to lift a sailing ship up out of the water for proper work upon it. Here in the docks, though, you can see there is a singular and very unique looking vessel, something that Yamamoto and Bralkin have seen before, but something that is truly unfamiliar even to Radon and what he knows of technology. This vessel is a ship made entirely of metal, and it is enclosed. It has no open deck. It just seems to be sloping along the top. You can see what looks like are like metal. That's heavy breathing from Radon already. Like,
No, that's the wind. Sorry.
it sounded like heavy breathing immediately.
He got excited seeing this new technology.
Got excited. But anyways, there's like seams along the sides that look like closed and sealed portholes. As looking at this thing, it looks kind of like an ironclad. Well, it looks very much like an ironclad, but also one that's completely enclosed. There's you can see there's a hatch on the top that's also closed as well, and it's just sitting there in the water. It's got a decent length well, not too wide to it. It's not as long as, say, the ship that you came in on. This thing is a fair bit smaller, actually. Probably like maybe like the size of a tugboat, if you were to compare it. But you just see this ironclad vessel just kind of sitting there. And over by it, Bralkin, you'd recognize them immediately as Durgar, Shadow Steel soldiers. The rest of you just see a pair of what look like they're about the size of dwarves, but they're covered in like a grayish plate mail, or like plate metal, like plate armor. Heavy war hammers to their sides, and they're just kind of leaning up against this, leaning up against crates. One of them sitting on a crate, the other one's there. You can see both of them have masks that are kind of put on top of their heads, and they almost look like if you had an Oni mask and it was made out of stone or made to look like stone. It kind of looks like that, but they kind of have them up on their heads and like their helmets. So it's like a full helm, but it's just seated atop their head, and you can see their faces, and they're kind of chatting with each other and eating food. And you just see them sitting over by this ironclad vessel. Now, as you do enter into this area further, in addition to these stairs that wind up the cliffside, you can see that to one side on the right, there's a rather bright old stone building currently belching smoke. You can see the glow of some kind of firelight. And you, what's her name? Halda. Halda, you would recognize this as the light of a forge in use. This building, like a medium-sized building, just kind of stands nestled between the cliff face and that big warehouse. There are also several added-on constructions, several wooden buildings kind of built off of it. It looks like this forge itself is the central part that looks as ancient as the walls around it. And then there's this dark, like this black wood that's been built around it. Of like,
I'm
Making
gonna
a
take a
mental
look
note of
at.
that.
Sorry. I'm
Go
gonna
ahead.
take a look at the tower.
the tower.
Think, nudge, nudge.
Oh, that tower. Yeah.
It's still there.
If it's the tower that I'm thinking of, in the bottom left.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, you can see there's, like, interestingly enough, unlike elsewhere within the Long Dark, when you guys had initially entered it, it seems like that, like, those wisps of mist that were always at the very edge of any part of darkness, you saw them in Docktown, but you don't see them here in Upper Haven. Almost like those wisps of dark energy or whatever it is just aren't present here. And you realize that you can actually see quite a good distance through this area. Now, you're looking up a cliff face, and you can see there is a glow atop it. And you would see from down below there is a tower, kind of on the far end, like in the southwestern end, like down over here, and you're just kind of seeing the peak of it. You don't really have a very good view of it, other than like there's just this top tip of a tower. Yes, that tower. It does look undamaged, which is a far cry from what it was the last time you were there. But yeah.
That's fun.
Hulda makes a note of the forge, though.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, there does seem to be like a quite a staircase leading upwards, and well, there's no library down here. And Takela did mention something about an inner sanctum, or maybe Aliana had mentioned that for where the library was, that it got moved.
I might split off just for a little bit. I'll meet you guys back at the library.
Does someone else know where the library is?
That one
Yeah.
points to Yamo.
I can
Right.
show the way, yes.
I can show you the way.
This is the way.
This is the way. All right.
Heads up, if I go silent and like disconnect for a minute, it's because I'm having to move indoors because it looks like a storm's coming up.
You were outdoors?
Yeah, I play outdoors in my porch.
Oh, hey.
I don't have AC, so it's cooler outside.
Oh, that makes sense. That makes sense. Yes, yes. I think I remember
But-
where you are geographically, and that makes a lot of sense.
Devil's Armpit. Yeah, I'm probably gonna go ahead and do that if we're not having any combat anytime soon, because the wind's supposed to hit 60 miles per hour. So
Yes. I don't imagine there's going to be a fight anytime soon unless somebody starts something.
okay, well, yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and swap over to my laptop that's inside then,
All right.
and I'm gonna put away this desktop
Very good.
before the storm gets all up on me. And then I'll have him do it in the hell that's supposedly coming my way.
All right, then. You do that.
All right.
Now, Brolkin, you're breaking off from the group?
Yeah, you know where I'm going.
I have a guess. I'm sure you'll let me know. All right.
There's tower.
Oh, yes. Well, I mean, they're going up that way too, so it's like, oh yeah, I'll meet you guys at the library, and you all head towards the stairs.
Oh man, I'm so awkward. Yeah, like you got kind of got to like drift back a bit or go ahead, and it's really uncomfortable.
I was like,
Oh yeah.
alright. I forgot it's the same way. I shrug. Never mind, I'm sticking with you guys for a little bit longer. I can't really remember where the library.
All right. Well, as you guys kind of ascend up this next area and moving up the stairs, kind of winding your way up this 100-foot rise, after, maybe like 30 seconds, something like that, you find yourself standing at the top of this inner haven, this upper section. Behind you, you can see the docks kind of stretch on, and beyond that, you can see Docktown just kind of sprawling into the darkness. You can kind of see it still from the light coming from it, but it also does have that bit of a ethereal, wispy quality to it, as if there's something different about this fortification than the smaller than the sprawling town outside of it. Almost like this fortification is somehow shielded by the darkness or from it, or something. But the newer construction outside is not quite. You can see, though, what look like stone walls kind of disappearing into the darkness around Docktown itself. Again, a newer addition in the eyes of Yamamoto. It seems it has been properly fortified to a degree. Here, though, turning then, looking straight ahead, what you can see is, quite an interesting structure. There's a large and flat area with a gazebo of sorts overlooking the stair. Inside the gazebo, you can see another one of those large, towering stone golems, red eyes watching you, and a pair of stone golems about the size of a person, maybe a bit bigger, like about 8 feet tall versus the 12 to 14 feet of those bigger golems. They just kind of walk by with a stone sword over their shoulder, just slowly moving along. They don't even look at your group as they pass by, just completely ignoring your group. In the middle, though, of this open field of packed dirt, you can see soldiers training. It looks like more of those individuals with blue cloaks or coats, things of that nature. You can see a bunch of men and women. There are elves, some maybe a dwarf or two. There are half elves and humans. There are very pale looking humans with very icy blue eyes. There's hobgoblins in there as well. bugbears, goblins, even some kobolds around. And it looks like there's various things going on, like drills, sparring, practice. You can see a small trio of kobolds knocks over like a group of practice weapons, and they get into a little bit of a shoving match with some goblins, and you see a bugbear comes over and like picks up a kobold in one hand and picks up a goblin in the other, and like kind of tosses them both to the side and starts scolding them both. And it kind of looks like some kind of almost like a really weird training camp just stretched over this flat area. Beyond it, though, is a structure. The structure itself, at least the initial part, single story with walls along it, towers at the different corners, the towers themselves kind of stretching up above. You can see that this place has a large pair of open doors entering into it about 200 feet away. Over on the left, the structure kind of loops around and hugs the side of the cliff face, and there's another set of doors over there with you can see stone golems, large stone golems flank the doors that you see. You can even see what's probably an armory as guards are kind of coming to and fro from that place, maybe bringing in weapons, taking them out, standing by a bit of a gatehouse. Atop this structure, which looks kind of like an old ancient monastery from the outside, or like a fortified monastery. On top of it, kind of in the central area, you see newer construction, tenements and wooden structures rising above this space, probably a good 200-300 feet in length, and you're not even sure how wide, just kind of almost like a town built on top of an old fortification. Inside this area, there is another thing that you see. The walls on the inside are coated with some kind of fuzzy white moss. It doesn't look like mold, though. It just looks like some kind of strange, like moss-like plant. And
Oh
you
god,
can...
it's asbestos.
Asbestos. And you can see people. There are actually people moving along the walls. Like, along the walls, you can see more of those Raven's Watch patrolling. You can also see a number of those kind of blue coat soldiers, ones that look like they're actually more armed and armored than kind of the police-looking ones that you saw patrolling around. These ones are patrolling around the walls themselves, looking more like soldiers. Many of them are armed with muskets and that kind, and muskets, spears, shields, variety of weapons just moving around up there. What was I about to... I think I blanked on something that I was saying. Oh yes, but you do see other people, like probably civilians, moving around on these walls and pouring water down on the moss as if they're watering it. And you see others in different places. Like there's a continuous movement of some people are like irrigating these, and others are like actively harvesting it. It looks like they're kind of almost like when you're shearing, almost like shearing a sheep. They're clipping off these big sheaves of this white moss and throwing them down into large baskets of it and taking it away somewhere. It's like some kind of farm on the walls. But yeah, yeah, Brolkin, you could probably you know that there's an embassy to your left, and that would lead you towards the towers, whereas the main doors would lead the party in towards, well, eventually the inner sanctum. Although they could also enter through those embassy doors. Which way would you go, Brolkin, and which way would you go, Yamo?
Go the shortest way.
Okay. Yamo, would you also go the shortest way?
I will go the way that gets me away from Brolkin the fastest.
Oh no.
You take the long way with the rest of them, and she takes the short way. Okay.
I take the scenic route.
Well,
I
yeah.
give them a tour. I give them a tour of the area.
Yeah.
I mean, Yamo, if you remember what's in the building to the left, it's certainly scenic.
It's been a while since I saw the map for that area, so I can't quite remember what's where.
Indeed. Indeed.
Oh right, yeah. That's where they are.
That is. Okay.
I think it's probably better to avoid
That.
interacting with them right now. One new thing at a time.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, you guys continue on, and you can see she splits off, heads over to the left. What you do notice is there's the building, like kind of the substructure on the left-hand side. It's covered in some kind of like there's also moss on the outside, but there's what looks like fungus, like fungal growth around it as well, like phosphorescent fungus is kind of growing out in an area patch around the front door. And as you see her enter into that structure, one of the fungal plants, just as you're heading towards the main doors and kind of glancing over in that direction, one of the mushroom stalks stirs, gets up, and you see arms and legs, and it walks into the building after her.
After who?
After Bralkin.
Huh.
Yeah. It follows you into the building. But yeah, you guys just see that mushroom just got up, and it had limbs, and it's okay. But
Vulcan's unfazed.
indeed. But
I'm
yeah.
gonna whisper to Yama, is here alive?
There are the myconids. Yes.
Myconids?
Mushroom people is probably the best way. If you start hearing voices in your head, it's them. It's very disorienting at first, but you sort of get used to it.
Well, I hear voices when I sleep, so I guess I'm already kind of used to it.
Good. That'll hopefully help you get adjusted.
Halda's gonna like it here, isn't she?
Yeah, she's all kinds of stuff to take in.
There's so much going on. Yeah, there's a very diverse ecology in this place of people and things and stuff. Okay, well then, heading deeper into this structure, you pass through a pair of double doors into what looks like almost like an entry hall. Standing within this entry hall are two more of those 14-foot iron golems just watching you. Like the moment you enter, they're just there on either side. And you come through another doorway, and there's three more of them. Two medium-sized ones perched on kind of raised platforms to the left and right of the door, and one more facing the door. The ones to the left and right, they kind of have their hands kind of stretched out to either side. They almost look like if you ever see angels in Diablo, like in the Diablo games, like kind of the hood and everything and the no face. Do you know what I'm talking about? No.
I haven't played
Yeah.
before.
Why not?
I know what you're talking about.
Never mind then.
I
They're
googled it. I know what you
Yeah.
mean.
they're like hooded, arms to the side. Anyways,
Yeah, I like the trailers.
yeah. But yeah, you see them. They're just kind of standing there, and all of them have these glowing red eyes, just watching you as you enter. But they don't move to stop you or anything. They're just there. Just these like. Now, you might not have encountered golems before, but I'd say Halda, as a dwarf and a smith and kind of a magic user, and some of the things that you'd know that golems themselves are powerful creatures. Maybe you've never made one or directly seen one. Maybe you have, maybe you haven't encountered one of these before. But these things are like, there's been a lot of them, and it's like this is impressive. This is the kind of stuff that you would have expected to see like in the ages of magic. Like before.
This is amazing.
It's just eating it up.
I don't ever want to leave.
Bucket list. Make a golem.
Make a golem. There's another set of double doors, and Yamamoto, passing through them, you find yourselves in what looks like a chapel. there is another one of these golems standing at the far end behind an altar on a raised plinth, and there are what look like refurbished, wooden pews just kind of lining the room. Good size room. And there's kind of but standing behind like the stone altar, the group of you sees a man, human man. You can see him. He is dressed. He has like a gleaming breastplate on, and he's wearing kind of robes, brighter colors. He looks like this might even be a bit jarring for those of you from the Empire, because he looks like a Steel Lecter, kind of, but at the same time, not. Like he does look very imperial as you enter into this room, but at the same time, he's got a very like the symbol on him. Like instead of the like the Warhammer poised over an open tome, which is what you've seen of Steel Lectorate before. On this individual, you can see he's wearing kind of like on like a tabard over his breastplate. He's wearing what looks like a just trying to find it. Oh yeah, there it is. It looks like actually a sword piercing a book, like piercing a tome. And he's in the middle of some kind of sermon, as he's talking about, it's like, but hold fast to the light, hold fast to it, and blah blah blah. And he's going on like it sounds almost like an imperial sermon. And in here, you can see a number of individuals gathered, mostly humans, some half elves. There's maybe an elf here or there. You don't see very many, if any, of those other races. Like you don't see any like goblinoids or kobolds in here. It's very, for lack of a better term, Lightwalker type people from outside the dark. And as he's talking, you kind of all enter into this. It's like, oh, there's a service in progress as you enter into the back, and the doors out are a little bit further on to the right of the altar. People turn, and there's like a shifting of movement, and people kind of turn and glance in your direction. There's some gas, some open mouths. Oh, I just heard myself reflect back there. Some eyes turn, especially looking at Yamamoto and the man standing behind the pulpit, who a couple of you recognize. He kind of looks and just anyways, as I was saying, and he gives like a nod to your group and continues on, and like attention goes back to him as he's, it was kind of interrupted, but then like, oh, okay, we're gonna go and continue what we were doing. But he does give hello, welcome back.
Okay.
But yeah, he does give, like Yamamoto, he does give you a bit of a nod, and there's a curious look as these other individuals. Now, I'm going to assume that you left Dilu and Florine outside. Because
I would have probably advised them to not ride horses in through the sanctum, yeah.
What do you mean?
like getting them up the stairs would have been fun on its own accord, possible, but just like, oh yeah, this is interesting. But yeah, getting to the building, it's like, don't bring horses inside.
Yeah, probably less than that. It's like stables. That's probably one of the first things we did.
Surprisingly, no.
Are there any? No
or
stables.
Perhaps unsurprisingly. Okay. Actually, come to think of it, there would be not stables, but there is a construction outside that looks like it's made to house creatures, but it's empty. Brawlkin would have been able to tell you what it was, but she went a different direction. So yeah, you could put them inside there. Your animals are the only animals inside, though.
Okay.
Except for you probably would have seen there like some kind of dark form in one of the corner stalls. But Yamo was going in, so probably didn't go over and get a good look at it. Perhaps something to go look at later. What's your telepathic range with Velo, by the way, Art?
A mile, I believe.
Mile. Good to know. All right. Anyways. But yeah, you kind of awkwardly. Oh yeah, Radon, you weren't there to hear the description. You've stumbled into what looks like. It almost looks like an imperial service, like an imperial church service. But the speaker has he's dressed up kind of like a cleric or one of them steel lectors or someone from the lectorate, but instead of like a warhammer over an open tome, he has what looks like a sword, a sword driving through a tome as the emblem. But there was kind of like a brief interruption, and then he just kind of gave a nod at Yamo, eyed up the rest of you, and then continued his sermon.
Would Argon know what that symbol means?
No.
Thing from. Okay.
Like, looking at that, it's like, that is like that's like a bastardization of the imperial like steel lectorate's symbol for for that group. It's like what what like what is like is that borderline heretical or what? Like, is that some kind of cult? You don't know, but that's the thing, you don't know, which is unusual because you probably know most of the symbols, or at least you know them to look at them. It's like that's like somebody's taken the steel lectorate one and they've changed it. But yeah, you guys just you pass through the sermon area and just keep going.
Well, we're already in now, so I don't think we're going to be more of a disruption. They should really put up signs outside the door to let you know when the sermon in progress.
Put up signs. Meanwhile, outside, sermon in progress. It's like, oh shit, wasn't even watching. No, there was no signs. But yeah, you walk out and into kind of long halls, and in here, there's more movement. There's other individuals kind of moving around in these halls, but there's not as much. There's not as much hustle and bustle down here as perhaps when you left Yamamoto. Most of that is most likely moved to the buildings atop this monastery. You do, however,
there was a lot of hustle and bustle here when I left.
Well, yes, that was... yeah. You do pass by what smells like a kitchen. And I say smells like a kitchen because you can smell the sense of cooking meats, of fresh baked bread, of the smells of ovens working tirelessly. As you guys walk down a hallway, and you can see there's an individual, looks like someone in rather, oh, there's that wind again. Rather plain clothing. Looks like some kind of just general worker. One of those humans with a very pale skin and kind of bright blue eyes opens the door and walks in, and you can hear people calling to and fro. It sounds like a very busy kitchen with head chef kind of calling for this thing and that thing, and sous chefs responding and making things. And there is definitely some kind of food prep going on in there, like a lot of it. But I think the last food that you guys would have had, you've probably been having just, well, travel rations and hardtack, ship's bread, back on the ship. So it's like there's that like, oh yeah, we haven't had lunch today, and you can just smell all these smells of really good smelling food coming from the kitchen as you walk by.
Big gulp.
Like just unconsciously licks her lips.
Yep.
Like,
Salivating and gulp.
It's like, can we stop there for a second? But yeah, you continue on, and as you're passing by, you continue down this long hallway, and there's a few people, and you see open doors at the far end, kind of on the right. and you hear chatter and talking inside. And as you pass by these open doors, you see a rather sizable dining hall, which this room is probably about 100 to 120 feet long, and it has multiple tables in here, just kind of lining this area, and it's this big dining hall, and there's probably a good couple hundred people in here actually, going about and having lunch, and you can see from the kitchen, like there's several tables at the far end actually, that look like they're just lined with different foods, and you can smell bread, you can smell cooked meats, you can see, like from the far back, you're not quite sure what exactly is piled up there, but there are people who are coming in, collecting food and sitting down and eating, some who are, you know, getting up from their tables and disposing of waste in like bins that are emptied out and heading out. You can see like a small family of goblins actually. You see like looks like 3 adult goblins and like 5 tiny goblins. Like imagine a human child and then have that because it's a goblin. They all go scrambling by the group of you, like the little ones looking with wide eyes, and like you each get like different pokes as they kind of go by and they scramble out. But yeah, as you see, like there's a dining hall in there, but this isn't where you're going. You know, you're not here for food.
As we walk by the children. Oh yeah, sorry.
Sorry. No, it's
All
like,
right. Go.
as everyone's like, why make a quick pit stop before the library?
Oh yeah. Can we? It's like, please, sir. But yeah, you pass the goblin children, or they pass you, Art.
Yeah, I'd probably, if they're like poking at me and stuff, I'd probably play with them, like chase them around a little bit.
Yeah, there's like a collective like and, little goblins, and they like scramble over each other.
Yeah.
You don't know if they're the parents or their guardians or like older goblins with them. There's kind of like a chaotic jumble as the goblins almost all run into each other and around each other, and then scurry like rats into the next area.
If I can, and one's willing, I'll put on my shoulders and like shake them up and down a little bit.
Yeah, you can easily grab one. They're like, you do, and there's like a laugh from this little goblin. The pitch of the voice and everything. It's like you can't tell if this is a little boy, a little girl, or what, but it's a little goblin, and they have a shrill shriek. Put them down.
Yeah,
They run off squealing happily like a little pig.
In any case, this is the first time that you've seen Art kind of lighten up ever since we got off the boat. But after that, she will
It goes back to
continue
stoic
following.
mode.
Yeah. Well, it goes back to high alert, like
Yeah.
danger mode, because yeah.
It's like, oh, kids, goblin kids. I've never seen kids this small before. Haha. Okay, back to work.
Yeah.
All right. Well then, you're continuing on towards this inner sanctum. As you continue through this inside structure, you come across what looks like just a rather nondescript door, kind of off to the side, and you can see it is closed, and it looks like a reinforced door actually. And Yamamoto, you stop in front of this closed reinforced door.
I will give a knock.
Okay. Does anybody else ask questions as you're here, or you just stand around him silently?
Wait. He seems to know what he's doing. He's guiding us after all.
Holly just wasn't expecting like the library to be in this kind of place. This is a well-protected library.
You knock. There's kind of a moment of quiet, and then you can see the like where there would be not a window, but like an opening that's currently closed. A shutter opens, and you see a pair of dull, like gray eyes, kind of on the other side, and very pale skin. One of those raven helms there. It just looks, and it's just looking at you. The figure doesn't say anything. You can just see though the like kind of the eyes on the other side of the thing, and they're just looking out at you, Yamamoto.
I have a suspicion I am expected.
Okay, you say that. The shutter thing closes, and then the door just pulls open, and you see what looks like a room about 20 feet by 20 feet. Just this square room, but it has a dome up above depicting looks like it's depicting some kind of elements, actually. As you come into this room, this dome of a room above, on one corner, like the depictions on the ceiling are, you can see flames and like burning fire dancing around, and as it continues on, the flames kind of turn into like from this kind of dull faded color of red to this dull faded color of blue, as it turns into water and waves, and then it seems to become more wispy as it turns into clouds and these things that look like they're tufts of air, and then it melds into this very earthen view of mountains and rock, and then back into the rocks and melt away into the fire. Just kind of this almost like this fresco on the ceiling, on this domed ceiling of the four elements. Which is, again, probably not what Hulda's expecting. There's no books in here, though. There's actually nothing at all in here. Just it's a flat stone floor. And standing inside, there are actually 4 of those soldiers. 2 of them have what look like double-bladed scimitars, and 2 of them have spear and shield, and they're just standing in the 4 corners.
I'll turn to Yamamoto and just say, this is the library?
If I remember correctly, Declan, is there a door through to where the library is here? Because I remember part of the wall got blown down at some point, and I can't quite remember what we did about that.
Oh, that library got moved.
Yep. Oh,
yeah.
Well, shoot, that's where I was trying to get to, to be honest. I forgot that had been moved.
Yeah. Like, you had, you passed by that place that had once been the library, and it was converted to a living space. But Aliana had said, she did say that it was moved to the inner sanctum, which is where you are now.
Right.
Or heading towards. But you do remember there is a way through here.
That's where we're heading.
Okay. Yeah. You remember the activation sequence and all. I imagine
Yamamoto does.
Yeah. You would see Yamamoto kind of trace several sigils along each of the 4 walls, and there's a shifting as the ground in the center of the chamber opens up to reveal a staircase going down. And I imagine you just go down, yeah. All right. Heading down the staircase, you come out into what you remember, Yamamoto, as the inner sanctum. Now, meanwhile, Brolkin, you were on your way to that far tower, I do believe.
Oh.
Okay. You make your way in that direction, and as you're kind of finally approaching the tower itself, you've gone through that one embassy and probably had a very brief conversation with its denizens in your mind, whether or not you responded. And exiting out of there with the spores having worn off, you are approaching the doors to this tower, and what you can see is in front of the doors are a pair of shadow steel soldiers.
is the crazy one.
They kind of look at each other and back at you. It's like, what are you looking for there, lassie?
Whatever. Sure. You have his tower back. Still not shown up.
The fuck's a girl?
Oh, you're fuck.
It's like, I don't think the lady would take kindly to you calling her that, though.
Lady.
Aye, Lady Miss Bell?
Take over this tower.
Aye.
Oh, for the fuck's sake.
You have an audience with her? And they kind of give you a look over. You look familiar, one of them says.
Oh, whatever. Gonna head back to the library.
She's like, fuck this shit, I'm out.
Annoyed.
Looking for a goblin, finds not what she wanted.
Finds out crazy boy's tower's been by the bit.
Okay. You continue along to go find the party. Now, meanwhile, the rest of you, moving into this inner sanctum, the stairs kind of go down to a rather open area. You can see that on one side there's what looks like a dojo, actually. Kind of like a nice practice area. It's well lit down here. Now, one thing that you would have noticed, especially Halda and Radon, that the two of you definitely would have noticed, and maybe Art to a lesser extent, or to an extent, inside the buildings, there's no lamps, there's no lanterns, there's no torches. Inside this monastery, interspersed at very even intervals along the walls, are crystals embedded into the walls, glowing with light. And coming down into this inner sanctum, as it were, you're not seeing any crystals embedded anywhere, but kind of like a, you know, when you see like an Oriental dojo and kind of those paper walls, paper doors. You see those kind of lining like the outsides, and there's like a diffused light shining through them, kind of like giving this whole area like this ubiquitous glow of diffused light. You would imagine or assume that there's some kind of light source kind of on the other side of these things, giving it like this particular decor and look while providing illumination. But down in this area, as you move into this place, you can see that there is a dojo to one side. There is there are, blanking for a second, there is like a long hallway leading off in another direction, and you can see at that hallway there's another one of the Raven's Watch is kind of standing near it. You also see one of those Durgar-looking soldiers just kind of standing there with hands kind of planted over a war hammer, just kind of hands resting on the top of it, or on the pommel, the big part of it resting on the bottom, and they're just kind of like standing guard in that hallway. You even see a couple of those blue coat soldiers in the area. And there's kind of this long hallway with several doors down it, and evidently it's kind of sectioned off. What you also see, though, is there's more to this structure down here, through and past that dojo area, which is currently quiet. You can see another set of, like another pair of doors over kind of on the left, and then what looks like another heavy door of banded iron that looks like it leads off somewhere else. You're not sure exactly where. Although Yamamoto, you would know where. But you're down here in this inner sanctum area, and Yamamoto, you know what's down the one hallway, those rooms. But I mean, the other two rooms over in the dojo area, last you remember, one of them was like a storage room for like training implements, and the other one was a small library, which might be where all the other books moved.
I'll head that way then.
Okay. The Durgar seems to like tense when all of you come down here. The bluecoats look in your direction. The Ravens Watch soldier, they just, again, no reaction to you at all. But yeah, you guys head over to this other door off to one side. And opening it, you see into, well, what can only be described as an uncomfortably cramped library. And Halda, you can probably get a good look in here as well. There's a cramped but decently sized room. It looks like part of the room is finished with wood, and a further section of it looks almost like it's been expanded and is partly just raw stone, as if it was carved out and not really finished with anything. Shelves line the walls and form tight inner walls as well, as they're kind of like multiple rows of these thin shelves. And you can see each shelf is just stacked full of books. And there are just books and books just layered upon layer within this room.
7.
Oh my goodness. Heaven. As you find yourselves in, well, what remains of Haven's library, stuffed into kind of a big hollowed out room.
I'll move forward and see if I can decipher, like, is there an organization system? How these books are.
Okay. You're gonna go in and you're like, I want to find some kind of Dewey Decimal System. All right.
Yeah, what's there? Dewey Decimal System.
All right, so that's what she's doing. Art, you see there's a library here, and Halda has obviously made herself at home, and I'm like, I am moving into this room right now. What about yourself, Art?
How cramped exactly is it? Like, there's still like, and is there anyone else inside that I can see?
You don't see anyone inside at the
Okay.
moment. As for cramped, the spaces between bookshelves are probably about 3 feet wide. So it's like, it's, you go and walk in there, and Halda is like, she's one shoulder and to shoulder with books on either side of her. If you were trying to pass each other in this room, it would be like, oh, pardon me, and kind of squeezing on by, that kind of thing. Though there's rows, and it's, there's rows of these books, so it's kind of cramped in there. But I mean, lots of books, and at a glance you don't see anybody. But at a glance you can't see past all the books. You can't see the library for the shelves.
Yeah. I think I'd go in and start looking down row to row, looking for anyone.
Okay.
The library.
Radon, how about yourself? Those two have entered into this library.
Radon would probably also be interested in the library, see if it has anything that he hasn't studied before related to, magic.
So he's also wanting to move in here and see if there's anything that he can find of any kind of interest.
Yeah.
Okay. Moving in here as well, looking around. And Yamamoto, how about yourself?
I'm kind of just enjoying being somewhere where people can't see me.
Are you slipping into the library as well then?
Yeah, I'm coming into the library. I'm finding a corner where I'm out of the way and out of view.
All right. As you're all kind of slipping into this area, I'll say, Art, make a perception check. Hulda, make an investigation check. And Radon, you can make an investigation check as well.
Too many books.
Too many books.
Too many books. Too many.
So little
books,
time.
Too many books. Too many.
Um.
At 20.
Nothing's come through here. Did you link things? You might need to refresh to send anything through.
Yeah, that's what I'm about to see. If, how to. It ended up being a. Of course, it's going to be on something that important. It always is.
I don't know. This could be important.
I've had 5 nat 1s in battle today.
Yeah.
But then I have a nat 20 on like best.
Well, so far
Perception.
there's been nothing coming through, but we'll see what comes in. Now, okay. Well, meanwhile, we'll go to the other two. At the moment, Hulda, looking around, you're like looking at the first few books, and it's like, oh, this one is like the art of the garden. Oh, okay. Is it alphabetical? Oh no, this one over here is Bumblebees Anonymous. Oh, does this have to do with like nature? Oh wait, no, this one's a book about This one's a book about is this a book about fishing? Oh yes, it's totally about nature. It must be separated into categories, and then you find some other book amongst them that's talking about philosophy, and it's like, oh, okay, I'm not sure. Like, what? Why? Is it authors? And you're like looking for author names and seeing is this separated by author or
That one go through?
A 3 came through, yes.
Okay, I just rolled a random dice just to see.
Yeah, so go ahead and make an investigation check for it coming in here. And Art, you're kind of looking down as this is happening and just kind of hearing the shuffle as Holly's like taking down a book, looking at it, putting it back, taking down a book, looking at it, putting it back. Radon, as you kind of scan different things like the different titles, these kind of look like books on many different subjects. Things about, well, maybe things about philosophy, things about like survival guides, or there's some random history of some person that you've never heard of, an autobiography. There's stuff written in, well, really all kinds of different languages in here. Quite a variety, and probably several that you don't recognize as well. And many of these books are old. Some of the books are damaged, but most are in decently good repair. And as you're moving around in here, there's another shadow at the doorway. As Bralkin, you, having gotten to kind of that one inner sanctum room, those guards let you in again without any kind of question or comment or anything. And, you came down here. There's definitely a tensing of the Shadow Steel soldier when you come down, but, you go the other way and you can see the door open and movement inside as you now stand at the threshold of this library. And you can see Hulda kind of standing there looking over at books. You can see Radon. Well, actually, you probably can't see him because he's short and has moved around some other shelves. And you can hear Art kind of like they're kind of brushing against things. And you don't see Yamo at the moment because he's gone and hidden himself in a corner.
Oh, I feel so bad.
With a 29! Amazing.
Even in the library? No one knows?
Even in the library.
He's actually above her, like doing the thing where he like wedges himself between two bookshelves.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Mission Impossible style.
Yeah.
Mission Impossible style.
Thank god.
Indeed. But yeah, you're standing there looking into this place. And that's about when so
did you guys find anything interesting besides the library itself?
Well, so far there's philosophy, there's beekeeping,
Have we?
there's a lot here, but none of it's in any order.
Still looking. Art says, kind of eyeing around.
And okay. And Radon, do you said something as like, oh yes, quite possibly.
I was like, I don't know, have we
Have we?
found anything?
And then Hulda, you hear a voice right behind you. Like you turned and you looked at Brawlkin, and now there's a voice like literally right behind you. Just this kind of feminine smooth voice. Just it's like, oh, is it not organized? Isn't that a pity?
I'm sorry, are you the librarian?
You turn around to look at the voice.
Yes.
Standing behind you is, let me just think, a bit of a shorter, like, probably, like, how tall is Hulda? Because no, she's a dwarf, so.
Like 4'10".
4'10". So a bit of a shorter young woman, like, taller than you as a dwarf, but probably short for, like, what would be a human in size. But this woman is wearing semi-revealing clothing. She has dark purple skin. Her eyes are just a singular golden color. And she has a pair of horns just curling along the back of her head. You have never seen a creature like this. It looks like a succubus almost. You can even see a pair of wings kind of tucked in behind her back, and a long forked tail just kind of flicking behind her as she just stands there. Gives you a big, wide smile with long fangs, and just said, "No, but I know him."
Oh. Oh, well, that's great. We were just looking for some information.
Is that so? She's uncomfortably close to your face.
Hey, Oriana, back off.
Okay. I'll take a... You know what? I won't take a step back. I will just smile bigger. Say, I'm Holly. What's your name?
She just points over at Brawlkin, who said, "Hey, Oriana, back off," and said, and just says, "Well, she knows the name of this form," which is a really weird thing to say.
Is this form. Okay.
And
What are
then
you?
yeah, she just
Very say, Ariana.
like, "Oh, you know, I come and go," and she looks up over at Brawlkin, and just with a wide smile, it's like, "So, did you bring anything back?"
I rummage, like, put down her bag and rummage through. Wait,
What do you have? And Art, you're hearing this voice, and you probably like look around the corner and you see this woman. Also on her though, you can see it looks like glowing tattoos just kind of lining her neck, lining her face, her body, her thighs as well. Like she's wearing clothing like you can see her legs. And there's just these like glowing, like it looks like magical tattoo lines just running up and down over her body. And this person like you've never like you don't know what a tiefling is. Like this is a this is basically it's a feral winged tiefling. Like that's the style of it. Because normally tieflings don't look quite like this either, but some of them can. But I mean, you wouldn't know what that is. Like to you, this looks like a demon. like a succubus.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, it doesn't seem
she doesn't
hostile.
see me, to my knowledge, right? I'm still like somewhere in the bookshelves, probably.
Yeah,
Or-
like you're hearing the voice, but you could come over and you could like peer around and see her.
I'll do that.
Okay.
I probably just
Watch.
had like a random book and like
You throw it.
do what I wanted
Do you,
to
like-
add to the
okay.
collection.
You toss it to her.
Nothing super useful for us.
All right.
Yeah, just be like, here.
Okay.
Maybe Callum will like this one too.
Well, he likes all books, and as you toss it to her, she doesn't move to catch it, and you all watch as it passes through her chest, and there's just like a flicker, as if she's not actually there. And there's just like a laugh, and then she's gone. And you hear another laugh. Bralkin, this laugh sounds very familiar, very different. And there's just like this high-pitched cackling laughter from somewhere above. I can't believe that worked. And it doesn't sound anything like the one.
Oh, is
Yeah. But yeah.
you
Yeah.
little shite?
Yeah, as you hear, there is a voice speaking in common from somewhere above.
Are they next to me?
Nope.
And
up.
divine sense.
Divine sense. You pop a divine sense. Yeah, go ahead and click on it. What's it gonna sense here? Okay, it senses celestial, fiend, or undead. You sense no celestials. You sense no fiends in this room, and you sense no undead. I had to think about it for a moment. It's like, did any of the party members come up as one of these three things? No, they don't. Yeah, within 60 feet of you, you do not detect. You do not detect celestials. You do not detect. Oh wait, no. You do actually. You detect a. You detect a fae in the room. There's a fae in here. It's not up though. The fae is not up. There's a fae in this room though.
Huh.
Sorry, no, you don't detect fae. Never mind.
I don't detect
Never
fae,
mind.
no.
You don't detect a fae in the room.
I will forget that. Yeah, don't worry about it.
Don't worry about it.
Okay. Well, the reason why I did it was because this person who looks like a succubus disappeared.
Yeah.
So I thought it'd be a good idea.
Yeah,
But now I know
you
she's
divine
not in it,
sense.
yeah.
It's like, what the fuck? Yeah, there's nothing. There's nothing in here. Radon, are you casting detect magic?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. You sense within 30 feet of you there is definitely magic, which makes sense. The party is covered in magic. Using your just looking though for if there's any faint auras around any visible creature or object in the area. The only visible creatures in the area are the party, and the only objects that you see with any kind of glow are objects that they carry.
He'll walk around the library. Is it 30 feet enough to like cover the whole library, or is it only?
Oh yeah, pretty much like a
Oh, it
30.
is? Oh.
Within 30 feet of you. Actually, it would probably be. It's probably like a good 60 feet in or more. So yeah, you could probably walk to the back, and you still sense magic because you're carrying magic on you, but you no longer see anything else beyond what's on you. But there's just a laugh from above.
Would I recognize this laugh?
Yeah. You recognize the laugh. It comes from a tiny creature that you remember from before. Yeah. Yeah.
The dragon that once tricked us out of a lot of food.
The dragon. Yes.
It's been a while, good friend. Why don't you come out?
Who is your friends?
My pale cousin looking one is Holda. This tall blondie, not so blondie, is Art. This baby looking man is Radon.
Oh my god, this baby looking man.
And well, you've probably seen Yamo somewhere. Oh well.
All right. Art, as you're looking around, would you be anywhere near Halda and Bralkin or further away? I know where Radon, he's like gone deeper in.
I'd probably be further away because my search. I'm
Okay.
looking around, right? So
Yeah. Halda, you feel something kind of brush your cheek.
Oh, kind of swipe at it.
Yeah.
Like I think maybe there's a spider there or something.
Yeah. You swipe at it and then you don't feel anything. And then as you look over in that direction, you just hear another little laugh that's nearby. And apparating near you is a tiny violet dragon. and just kind of
Oh.
cocks its head and looks at you. It's like, I've never seen a dwarf. Oh, never mind. I have. Haven't
Yeah, I
seen
just kind of point to Brocken
you.
and cock an eyebrow.
Yeah. It sounds like it was gonna say a dwarf like you before, but then there are other dwarves like that in this place. Go ahead and make an Arcana check though. See if
They
you
even
know
have
what this
this-
is.
Eat any.
But he kind of tilts his head the other way. Well, I mean, quite like you. You're very unique. The other dwarves here, they carry weapons and they wear armor, but you don't. Well, you have armor, you have some weapons, but you smell like magic.
I'll
This-
just toss one shoulder of hair across, or toss some hair across my shoulder.
You recognize this creature from stories, from books. This is a fairy dragon.
I remembered his name, Wibblethroat. Wait.
But this is a fairy dragon, a cat-sized dragon with butterfly wings, sharp-toothed grin, and expresses delight by twitching its tail. It seems to be a very jolly little creature. This thing being violet, with an Arcana check of that nature, this is a dragon that is older among fairy dragons, like in excess of 50 years old. But yeah, this is a little fairy dragon. So not a it's not a fae. It is a dragon, but they're called fairy dragons because they are very much they're mischievous, kind of like the fae. And they're known for illusion and invisibility and tricks.
Yeah, that tracks.
Yep. But it's just there. It's kind of looking at you and said the thing about you smell like magic, and you did a little hair flip. And then it just continues in common. What is your name, magic one?
Hands on hips. My name is Hully. What about you?
Ah. What about me? And then it turns invisible. And there's just a laugh as it flies.
I'll just turn to Brocken and say, friend of yours.
It goes back. It's quite funny. Surprised you learned common. Gonna take out a ration for like some chunks of ration.
Some food. All right. You kind of hold them out, and you feel they're very suddenly gone for your hand as the little dragon is swept down and grab them and reappears, kind of lazily sitting on top of a bookshelf, looking down and munching on it with its little claws. And Art, at this point, you probably, like, from wandering a little bit further, like, can see back. It's like, oh, there's that thing. Now, Radon, coming to the back of this place, you can see that there's actually another door at the far back here. And just as you're moving towards it, it opens, and in front of you stands a young-looking human man with tousled hair and kind of a very wide-eyed expression. It's almost like it's just his natural expression. He's wearing simple purple-blue robes, and you can even see like a crystal amulet focus hung round his neck. At his side, you can see what looks like very obviously a spell book. Like it's got the whole like, oh, it's got like iconography on it. You can make an Arcana check as well, as it's very nice and ornate, and like this is something that stands out. Like, oh yeah, there ain't no hiding what he's carrying, right? As he comes out and he's like, Wibblethwip, have you seen Wicca? Oh, hello, who are you? And you recognize the sigil for divination in the Draconic tongue is on the spellbook.
Oh.
And he's looking down and he's like, oh, who? Hello, can I help you?
I'm just looking around.
At him. Do I see him?
No, this is at the far back of the library, like past rows and stuff. Like, yeah.
The little gnome has wandered off. Just don't worry about it.
Yeah.
He'll look up and like, I'm just looking around, trying to what all this library's about. Name's right on.
Okay.
Who are you?
I'm Callum, and he kind of like adjusts his, like kind of scratches his nose a bit, and then looks like blinks. You radon. Okay, like the element.
Yes.
Right. All right. Well, I'm Callum. Did I say that already?
Yes, you did. That's
Okay. Right. Yeah. I guess I kind of manage the library in here. I have not seen you before. Where did you come from?
Through the front door.
I mean, what? Wibble Twip, where's my cat? And
Your cat,
his cat.
more like mine.
What?
No, Callum has his own cat.
Yeah, she
The
also
NPC
really
has
Yeah,
his
Burlkin
own
just
thing.
got confused. Her intelligence is not the best.
more like my
Or
cat.
wisdom.
There.
Yeah, he's calling out. Where's
No,
my
there's
cat?
Yamos.
Oh, mine's better than you.
Yeah.
As you all hear this call out, it's like, Webble Thwip, where's my cat? And then the dragon just kind of leans up and looks back. Why don't you call it? It's your cat. Oh, right. And he's looking down at you, Radon. It seems like he's almost forgotten that you're there, and he's like, right. My gosh, I forget that I can do this sometimes. All right. And he snaps his fingers. Nothing happens, and then he's like, and now. And appearing like on his shoulder is a black cat, just there. It's like, oh, there you are. It's like scratching its chin. He turned you into a
I'll
crab.
look
What? You look at him.
right on look up and say, well, that was a neat little trick.
Yeah. Well, if you're here for the library, are you the only person here? Did I hear voices? And he's like looking towards the front and starting to move that way. And the rest of you have
Oh, yeah,
heard, like, there's a voice back here now.
Yeah.
Hello.
I'll be moving in his direction as well.
Yeah, I'll be
Yeah,
moving
right on.
there.
And right on be like, yeah, there's a bunch of them back there. And
Sure.
continue browsing the book.
He kind of gives a double take at you, and he's like, Wicked, if you would just watch him. And and the cat just kind of hops down and just sits at your feet and just looks up at you and just stares at you and just meow
Hello there, little kid.
meow.
He'll continue like reading the books, trying to
Yep.
on artificer.
Just trying to find anything that means anything.
Is there anything that would interest him
Yeah.
as an artificer?
Yeah. There's been a lot of esoteric works, a lot of things about like these seem to be very old works is what comes to mind for him. Like these are books from like you haven't ever seen titles like these. You haven't ever seen these books, these writings. It's almost like they were written in a previous age.
I also would have picked up the book.
Yeah.
Right on definitely would be flipped,
Yeah. Flipping through.
especially once read before.
Once the what?
Ever read before back home?
Oh yeah. And it's like these are all books, like all of these are completely foreign to him. It's like, huh. Like even ones like they might be completely mundane, but they're talking about people who like there are dating systems in here that he doesn't even understand. It's like, what is this? Like it's referring some like particular year and month and day, and it's like, what? Like this doesn't even make any sense to you. Like the dating system, you've never even heard of it before. It's like, wow, this is old. But yeah, you're doing that, and the cat just kind of goes into like a cat loaf and just sits there and watches you.
Oh,
Just little cat loaf. Meanwhile, this individual, Callum, as apparently he is called, starts making his way to the front, and he's like, Brawlkin? And it's like, who's your... Oh, it's another dwarf, and hello. And as he just walks around one of the corners, and like, you're probably just like right there, Arton's like, oh, hello. Oh, wow, aren't you something tall? Looking up.
What would I do here?
I don't know. What would you do here?
It's been a while.
I don't.
I'm holding on.
Honestly, I'd kind of just be like, and I just like
I'll
look him
I'll
up and
make
down.
my
I don't
way up
think
to him.
a character would actually. I don't think I would actually. I don't know what she would do. I don't know what I would do as art. So
When somebody just like walks into you, it's like, oh wow, you're tall. Yeah.
yeah.
And then he turns and looks back, and yeah, he looks at you, Brolkin, and Halda as well. And again, like it's like these are cramped spaces, and two dwarves are not passing each other in one of these halls.
But I'm sure trying.
Yeah.
Are you Callum?
Would be me, and you would be.
My name is Holly. Captain Eliana said that I should find you.
Okay, cool.
And here you are.
I am right here, and you can see as you get close, like you recognize. Do you know Draconic?
Great question. I do not.
Okay.
I do.
You do. All right.
Yeah.
You can make an Arcana check then, Holly. Because you may not know Draconic, but you might recognize some Draconic symbols. You'd recognize a Draconic symbol on his book, which is very blatantly, obviously a spell book. Like, this is not a, oh yes, I'm trying to hide what I have. This is a, like, yeah, that's like an item you'd find in World of Warcraft spell book. Like that. Like, oh yeah, okay, that's on the nose. But yeah, like he looks, yeah, he looks like a wizard. But yeah.
So are you the librarian here?
Well, yeah, kind of. I mean, I kind of adopted the. There wasn't really a. Yes, I'm gonna go with yes. Sure. Yup, that's me, Callum, the librarian. Because you know,
great.
you kind of you go from being just, oh yeah, we're gonna go find some necromancer, and then we're gonna meet some kind of weird monster thing, and we're gonna be turned to stone for 1,000 years, and now, yep, I'm Callum the librarian. It's not a weird thing, and he's just kind of rambling to himself. Brawlkin, you know, he's kind of he's like, anyway, sorry, yes, sure, can I help you, Holly?
Yes, Holly. Hulda.
Holda.
Holly, my friends call me Holly.
Okay, I'll be your friend. Sure, Holly. Why not?
Oh, great. I am just wondering, is there a system to the library?
Huh?
You know, the way the books are organized. Is it by
Oh,
topic?
Oh,
Is it by...
right. It's you can see he's kind of like running his hand through his tousled hair and just like, you know, there's sometimes I do organize it a bit, but then she likes to move things around and read random stuff, but and then I mean there's the.
Well, speaking of which, he'll take out the book.
And hi. Oh, what's that? He's getting distracted immediately.
A random book I found. Thought you'd like it.
Oh, he takes the book and looks at it. Oh, interesting. And he's kind of looking at the pages. Yeah, I'm sure I'll probably read this and find a place for it. Thanks, I suppose. Did she say anything else about, like, because she was trying to give it to somebody else earlier, wasn't she?
My dumbass fucking Wibblethwip got me.
Yep.
Thought I was given to Oriana, but
He's like, oh, okay. Holly, you notice him turn a little bit red. Because you're pretty insightful. And Art, do you have a good insight? Can't remember.
It's okay. I don't think I'm proficient in.
Oh,
Oh, I
okay.
am.
Oh,
I
you
have
are?
pretty good insight. +6, yeah.
+6? Yeah.
Yeah.
It turns a little bit red at the mention of whoever that figure was. Like that might actually be a real person. Like whoever the dragon was pretending to be might. Well, it sounds like they are a real person, and they were just pretending to be someone who actually exists. To be tricksy. He's just like, well, I'll sure, yeah, I can give that to her. And you're who, Holly, and is that gnome Radon? Is he a friend of yours?
oh yeah, he came.
Okay, he's looking at all the books and he looks over and up at Art, and you're it's like he's waiting on you to say something, anything.
Oh, sorry, I was muted.
Oh, that's great.
I was looking this guy up and yeah. Art will crack a smile and say, "The name's Art."
Okay, like is that short for something, or is that like referring to like drawings, paintings, or does it mean
Well, obviously it's because I'm a work of art.
Okay.
Thank God.
Thank God.
Thank
Obvious-
God.
Why is that
What?
thank God?
Why is that? Thank God. I don't know. But anyways, yeah. She doesn't say that with a straight face though.
Yeah, she doesn't.
It's very clearly meant to be a joke. Yeah.
he kind of like brushes his nose. He's like, okay then. I suppose that's true. And then he goes and he looks back at the others, just kind of like, you don't know if he actually got the joke, that it was a joke, and just like, I suppose that makes sense. I suppose that's true. And then he just continues on. And he's just holding the book kind of absent-mindedly, and just says, but you were bothered by Whipplethwipper. You're stop rearranging the books in here. You see, there was a system, and then when you move books, then there's not a system anymore. And you just hear this voice from above. You no longer see it. It's like, oh, lay off, have some fun. And he just turns and looks back at you, Hulda. I'm terribly sorry if you were looking for any kind of organizational system. I mean, there should be one, but it is, yeah. Is there something you're looking for? Can I help you? You said Aliana sent you all here. Where did you all come from? You're not from, like, you wouldn't be from before as well, would you?
From before,
I'm gonna take that as a no.
just- Now, well, I'm from the Empire.
I wouldn't know, actually. Well, I mean, I've heard some weird stories now that don't sound amazing.
Outside.
Yeah, okay. I mean, I remember
Yeah, there's a lot of weird
outside.
stories here.
I haven't seen the sun in apparently 1,000 years, so that's fun.
Oh,
I
you
don't-
look great for your
Awesome.
age.
Thank you. Enough about me. Where did I put my cat? Wicket?
Oh, you were but the organization. I know that
No,
there's
yeah.
one, but what I am looking for, do you have any books about an old god or old gods? Or-
I think the closest thing that was around was that tome that like the guy with the scales had on him. What was his name again? Singy.
Angular?
Yeah, he had
Where
that.
is he?
He had that tome. I thought he went with you. Didn't he get on the ship and head out? I mean, he had that tome. I thought it was fascinating. A tome all about dragons and their deities and stuff. But he took that with him, and I don't know if he's ever coming back. But I mean, there was that. That was a fascinating. Let me tell you, Holly, Hulda. Can I call you
Yes.
Holly? Holly. Let me tell you,
Oh,
that
Holly,
book
please.
was fascinating. I mean, it was all about dragons. It was all about the deities of old. The ones that I remember, the great dragon gods, and it didn't talk about the others, but it even mentioned some things that I didn't know about the fall and how talking about how they created the dragonborn, and even it aided in the resurrection. Actually, it was amazing. Wait, is Yamamoto here as well? I thought I heard something.
He's around.
He's around. Yeah. The have you met Yamamoto, the dragonborn? Like, or
Yeah,
I
like,
have.
dragon man? Yeah. He that book actually helped bring him back to life. Kind of changed what he was. His scales shifted color, and Yamamoto, you're hearing. Like, you can hear them talking about yourself now. I don't know if you approach or if you're like, I'm staying.
See, at this point, I've been hiding throughout the entire conversation, so it feels more awkward to enter now.
As he's just blathering on about a resurrection.
I could, if I'd said something earlier, maybe it would have been fine, but now it feels like it's gone on too long.
Indeed. Good memes.
You're gonna wait until all of us leave, aren't you?
Yep.
But what if Helga never leaves?
It's fine. Like, he'll wait until Callum, because he came in with Hulda. Hulda knows he's in here.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's just Brolkin and Callum that
Don't know. Yeah. But yeah, he's going on about like, oh yeah, his scales shifted from I think they were like a bronze color before to a blue color. Not a blue. Sorry, a golden color. The golden color that you see now. Apparently that's a big deal within his culture. But I mean, though their people didn't even exist back when I was around before. I mean, this emperor also didn't exist back when I was around before. And I mean, it's all a bunch of very interesting times outside, apparently. And now I live here, and I'm apparently a librarian, and I have some very interesting friends. He kind of stumbles around that one, and there's a dragon. There's a dragon that lives here. I didn't realize I would ever be acquainted with a fairy dragon, but I mean, they are very mischievous. Did you know that?
Wow. Who needs a book? I mean,
Who needs a book?
like, you kind of are the living history. That's amazing.
Oh, well, I don't know about that. And you can see he like flushes at the compliment.
So if you know a time before, there's one god in particular that I wanted to learn about.
Okay.
And the name was, and I might get this wrong, help me if I get it wrong, Tessarin?
He like pauses and thinks. You know, you're not the first person to be talking to me about that since I came back. It's Tessarin. Probably what you're thinking of.
Thank you.
Yamamoto, you definitely hear him say this. But again, it's gone on too long, hasn't it?
not too long.
Gone on too long. But there's that word. There's that word that you couldn't put your finger on. Back before, when you were trying to remember a name and you knew it was Task something. It's like, there it is. He's like, yeah, she was was kind of a like a goddess of kind of like a fae almost. I don't know if I necessarily have called her a goddess, but for sure like a very powerful archfey, at least from before.
Okay.
I've heard, Sangir, and he snaps his fingers, he was actually talking to me about apparently things have changed now and she's some kind of something else. I mean, They're talking about he's talking about a lot of things. Actually, he would have been a great person for you to talk to, I'm sure. But I mean, we were talking, and he even said the Raven Queen called her a sister, which I suppose is kind of true. They're kind of akin in that sense. But you know, kind of a sad thing there. And now as for the Raven Queen, you can make an Arcana check to see if you, or actually, yeah, you can make an Arcana check to see if you know the name. 14? Not really. You don't know what that means? Other than other people have been throwing the name around as something powerful, evidently.
I am soaking it all in. I'm just eyes wide, smiling, nodding to make my head fall off. Just, ooh, loving it.
And he just kind of continues. He's like, apparently the goblinoids, before they ended up with their lord, what's his face, their gray lord or whatever, a number of them kind of revered this dark entity that it created the Long Dark, kind of as a safe haven from the Empire. This is more stuff that not from my past, just kind of things that that I hear around here. Can't tell you how accurate it is, but I mean, with all of that said, there's been kind of correlation links between Tasserine, this being of old, and this entity of the dark now, I suppose. It's kind of fascinating, really, how pantheons and things can change. Like, apparently there's a whole pantheon out there of some emperor and a whole bunch of divine aspects or some craziness like that. I mean, I did kind of see one of them flying around in the sky, and I gotta say that was the scariest fucking angel I ever did see. God,
Yeah.
that thing fighting a dragon was. Have you ever seen a Dracolich before? I've seen it. I've seen it once, and I can tell you, quite honestly, I don't want to see it again.
You should write your own book, and I'll just kind of like give him a tap on the upper arm.
It's like, you know what? I should write my own book. Yeah. Where did I leave my cat? And he turns around and he's looking around again. Radon, meanwhile, the cat's just been following you around as you go around this place, like picking books off the shelf, looking at things over here, looking at them over there. And it's just paying attention to you because he told it to watch you, and he hasn't changed its mind yet.
Right on, we'll just look at it and say, you can follow if you want. He ain't gonna see nothing. And just keep reading books, totally ignoring the cat after that.
Yep. Just cat. Like when you say something to it, just meow. And then whenever you stop, like at some books to look at them, it just goes back to box cat. It's like, whatever. I don't care. I'm just here. This little black cat. It's like I exist. But yeah. You're browsing and scouring for books. Hulda's found something that she's very excited about, apparently. Now, how about yourself, Art? Like, you're just standing there listening in, I suppose.
Yeah, and I continue to do so.
I continue to do so.
Yeah, well, in my head, I'm thinking about like how best I should approach this, because it sounds like this is the guy that I'm looking for.
Potentially.
So I'm just yeah, potentially. So I'm just waiting my time, biding my time, waiting my time, biding my time.
Biding your time.
Yeah.
He kind of looks back. At
And
this
if
point,
he glances at me, I'll just kind of like do like the thing where I like go from looking at him to like, oh, book.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, he doesn't look in your
You're
direction
looking.
because it's kind of you're being quiet and like other people are talking to him, and so his focus is like shifted over there. And he's like very laser focused on whatever he's doing at the time, except for when he gets scattered. And he's just like it's like, well, yes, I suppose, but yeah, you have found the library and me. It's me, Callum. Yes, I suppose. And there's a dragon around in here, which it sounds like you met. His name is is Wibblethwip. He is a troublemaker, but you know, rather helpful. He turned me into a scorpion once, I think.
It was cool.
Yes, you jumped on my back. I cut some people in half. No,
Gonna
not
give
people.
like a shitty grin, be like, you could say I rode you.
Well, I suppose you could say that, and like he doesn't like the joke right over his head, like gone. He's
I
like,
forgot how pure you are.
pure. I'm not sure what you mean, but I suppose yes. No, those were the Vegapigmies. Yes. Fascinating creatures, really. Very horrifying creatures as well. Horrifying what happened to those corpses. Oh, I don't even really want to think about it. And he shivers. It's just like random other bits of no context information kind of flying out randomly. But he
This is awesome.
this is awesome. he kind of stops and looks back, but Holly, yeah, welcome to the library. You are new in Haven?
I am. And I hold up my spell book. And I am looking for, you know, a place where I can learn more magic.
He's like, do you have a would you mind if I had I would love to see.
Can I like
Can you?
My mind
Oh yes. And he kind of holds out his book, and there's like the quick book trade. And looking in his book, this is much more organized and straightforward than Oriana's. Not Oriana's. Aliana's. Sorry. Like she has a smattering of notes. This guy, it's like, you know, nice regulated pages. Like this is like, looking at this, it is draconic, like old draconic script, like things that you would have found in some dusty old ancient tome, the language, like the long language of dragons. It's like, oh wow, like this is, but this is like expert penmanship, and everything. It's almost like calligraphy, the way, like how well it's put into this book. It's beautiful. Looking over it, like you can tell at a glance, this young man, he is specialized in, like you, divination.
amazing.
Like you can see there's a number of things that are very familiar to you in here, things that, like, spells that you know and recognize as you know, stuff that you do. There's probably a few unfamiliar spells, like stuff that like you can kind of see, like do you, I don't know, can you activate that arcane eye again?
Not until I've had a short rest.
Ah, okay. So you don't like, you kind of recognize like some of the spells just from the way the sigils are formed, and just kind of from like the organization of it. It's like, I'm pretty sure like this is probably identify, just the way it's kind of laid out. But it's still like, okay, you need to spend some good time with this, but there's probably stuff here that you wouldn't know. And he's looking over your book and he's like, this is fascinating. It very much seems like you've taken a very similar specialization approach to my own, but you have advanced it far beyond my skill. This is quite fascinating. As his skill, probably up to 3rd level spells. But
Well, anything that's in there, like, feel free to copy it down.
it's like, actually, that you should say that. Kind of in need of materials, really. I mean, Lady Misbel has been willing to part with some materials if I can provide compensation, but she is very much interested in, you know, anything that she doesn't know from my spell book, and pretty much trades that I've gotten some spells from her, and you know, she'll provide materials for that. Like, he's talking about somebody else already now, but probably a name that you've heard dropped by Bralkin. It's like, but not always the most amiable sort. She kind of messes with your mind a bit, but I mean, she's got some really powerful spells, probably more on your level, actually. Although her focus is, I'm not actually 100% sure what her focus is, but it's definitely not divinations. Anyways, what I did wonder, well, maybe if Yamamoto's around too, I'd ask him, but perhaps yeah. You said you're very, very new, right?
Me?
Like to the region, to this area.
Yeah.
You came
First
from
day.
outside.
That's
Okay,
the
okay.
First place I came.
All right. Have you heard about the Legion?
The Legion. I have heard the word the Legion
Okay.
be spoken.
So the Great Legion, they're a force of goblins, hobgoblins, bugbears, some other number of other dark side races, and their slaves, and ogres and stuff like that too. But they have several cities in the area, and I mean they're at war with, and he kind of gestures at Brawlkin. They're at war at with the Durgar people in this region, the Karak. He kind of does look at Brawlkin like an apologetic look almost for a second, and then back. Yeah, kind of back to it though. Like he doesn't even notice that. It's almost a passive thing for him, but kind of back to it. He's like, but well, what maybe isn't something that's quite as well known. Well, I suppose you wouldn't know anything about this because they're anyways, you're very new. But aside from their religious sect and the reverence of their Grey Lord and what have you, they are very prolific in magical spell scrolls. They actually create vast numbers of scrolls to disperse among their army, and those are kind of very similar materials that I'd kind of would be very useful. The pens, the papers, and ink. You good there, Rada? Sounds like a horse.
What are you talking about? That's just the horses outside. Pay them no attention.
Pay them no attention. But yeah, he kind of stumbles on forward and just when copying things into books, and he's kind of gesturing around like he's holding your spell book and you're holding his, and he's very like he's talking animatedly with his hands while he's holding your book. But as he continues, and I'm sure like finding those materials, it's not always the easiest thing, is it? Especially not here. But if they have these vast materials, they must have some kind of specialized resource or process or something. As well, I'm sure you know as well as I that creating such scrolls is not exactly inexpensive and requires unique materials. If you have returned, and with Yamamoto having returned, if he's, I might ask him this myself, but I suppose I could ask you if you do happen to be making a. Oh, what?
Yeah, he's here. Yamamoto. Yama. He came in with us. Where did he?
Yamo, do you stay hidden?
Yamamoto is going to appear behind Callum.
Okay. Yeah, he doesn't notice, and he's still talking. He's like, "Oh well, if he's here, I suppose
Yes, Callum.
Oh Lord, Almighty's by the gods and all the things. Hello. It's good to see you.
Hello.
Where have you been? You disappeared a couple months ago, didn't you? I wasn't sure what happened to you, but
I have been on a journey.
Oh.
And that journey has taken a detour back to Haven.
Oh,
I'm here again.
Did you get lost?
No, I ran into Aliana.
Is she okay?
Yes, she's fine.
Oh, you said you ran into
but
her.
She had some Imperial ships on her tail, so it seemed safest to go with her for a while.
Oh, that sounds like a very exciting
and now I'm
journey.
back here, and until she leaves, I cannot leave, so I'm here.
Ah, well, I was actually wondering, and perhaps Halda, you'd be interested in this as well. I'm the Legion. Well, they have these kind of resources, and I was wondering if maybe with kind of the war no longer being to Haven and us being kind of a neutral party here now. I expect their Legion cities are once again open for welcome for trade. I was kind of wondering if perhaps anyone would be interested in going there and seeing if they could find out more about where they're getting these materials, and maybe getting a bit of a trade deal for Haven, of course, and perhaps for spellcasters like ourselves and Aliana, and not having to rely on just Lady Misbel for any kind of materials like that, because she does have her own costs for it. And I mean, in the free market, why not go where it's cheaper, right?
Yeah, Yamamoto puts a hand on his shoulder. That sounds like a wonderful idea. You should bring it up with the council. I'm sure they would be glad to hear of the proposal.
Oh, they're not really interested in that kind of thing. This would more be a personal request, really, because they're.
Hello.
Yes.
Why don't you just come with us?
Oh well.
On a little adventure like we used to.
I remember our previous adventures, and I almost died a couple times. Actually, I almost died several times. I almost got electrocuted and turned into a plant monster, and I was turned into a scorpion, and I almost fell out of an upside down flying ship. And I remember the explosions on that other vessel, and
so do I.
And yes, but you're much more accustomed to this. I have my books. I have Wibblethwip. He would miss me, right? Right?
Wibblethwip will come.
No.
I missed Wibblethwip.
I mean, I don't know about that. For me going along, I kind of like being in a place where I'm not being shot at and stabbed at and hunted by weird Imperial Ranger people, and it's nice here. But thank you, though. Thank you. I appreciate the thought. And he kind of looks like his expression is like help as he looks at the others in the area.
Well, I'll just start. My wheels start turning. It is nice here. If we can go and get these materials for spells from the Legion, would you be able to guarantee me a place here
in Haven,
in this library, like you have?
Oh, in the library. I mean, I would love more help. I mean, I don't think that. Sure, yeah. You know what? You do that. That sounds good to me. It's just like, you know what? Yes, I'm just gonna say yes. You can insight check him if you want.
Insight check. Can he actually do that for me?
Go for it. Make that insight check. 18? You don't think he needs to. Or you're not sure he needs to. Like, you don't know what the acceptance process is here in this place, but it might actually be really lax. But it's kind of like
don't tell me you've become awfully stingy with your knowledge in the time I've been away.
Stingy? No?
Surely you'd be more than happy to welcome in a fellow scholar without any kind of quid pro quo.
Well, what I can say is, hey, if you are able to find these kind of resources, I mean, if I have spells in my book and you have some in yours, I mean, I always like, trading knowledge back and forth. If you want anything that's in here, all you need is the materials, right? And I don't really have the materials here, and you may or may not want to talk to, Lady Misbel about them. I know that in the Legion, they definitely have them.
All right.
All right.
I hold out my hand and say, I'm in.
He looks at your hand. Right, yes, that's a thing that people do. Okay. And he shakes your hand. You don't know if it didn't used to be a thing back in the day, or if he's just socially awkward. Could be.
I just smile.
Probably
Yeah,
a bit of both.
probably a bit of both. A bit of column
And then I
A.
realize I actually should check with other people because I am also socially awkward.
Yeah.
And I kind of like pull my hand back and go, oh. And I look around. Do you guys want to? Is this okay? Are you? Do you want to come?
I'm good. I'm good. Wow, I'm having a stroke over. I'm always up for a good fight.
Is it a good fight?
Oh,
Okay.
Gonna have to do what I gotta do.
I don't think there'd be any necessarily fighting. I mean, you're just going over to like where
Trade
it's
mission.
a trade mission, yeah.
I never know.
I guess not. Actually, that is very true. I
Especially
remember
with the
some
le-
things.
Look at me. Little.
He's like,
All right, well,
I'm sure if you're from here,
cautiously
it's fine. You're cautiously, yeah.
Yeah, I will cautiously nod. Agree.
All right. Radon, you've probably like meandered back in this direction. Like you found a few books that are kind of interesting. Nothing about like. There doesn't seem to be anything about artificery like at all. Like you haven't found a single thing that had anything to do with like technological stuff. Almost like it didn't exist and it's new.
He'd probably be coming back pondering why wasn't there anything like that in these old books.
Yeah.
I'd be like, well, how did they do it back then? Then, just complete confusion of like, what, why?
How did they do it back then? Magic. Literally. But yeah, you come back to hear kind of this like, oh, trade mission to some other city. It seems like people are talking about.
Yep. And he'll just like come in the middle of this conversation.
You cut out there at the end.
I said he'll just the chat just made.
What? I think you went robot there.
You're cutting in and out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I said, what is going on here?
Oh, I say, what is going on here? Okay, excellent. That makes more sense.
Well, we are forming new relationships and hopefully establishing a trade deal with the Legion to get spell components.
Right on, look at you, it's like, don't you just have a thing that makes the spells work? And then pulls out like his alchemy set. It's like this.
Well, not an infinite number of spells. You have to keep getting components for spells. There's not just each spell costs you something in order to get it, and then you have to copy it, and then you have to. There's a whole process.
It's quite extensive, yes. But very rewarding,
I don't
too.
know.
Extremely rewarding, yes.
So rewarding.
I love it.
It's amazing.
Argon's looking at the two of them like, yeah, we don't do that, but okay. And he doesn't exactly have a spell book. It just kind of.
He just kind of makes inventions. He just makes up inventions, and they work. Sometimes he needs expensive components for them, but some of the more rare spells he needs expensive things. But yeah.
He just kind of looks at them like they're kind of weird. It just kind of wanders off to the side of the group. He's never really interacted with people who do this before, so he finds it weird that they have to have a lot of these odd ends to do magic when he's just like, you just go to the smithy and stuff like that, get 90% of the stuff you need.
Go to the smithy. Get thee to a smithery. All right.
The rest is the jeweler shop.
But he kind of looks back at Yamamoto and just, I've heard that there have been some complications, but I mean, I'm sure that's all blown over by now. You've been gone for like 2 months.
Look,
Sorry, I don't know
Alan?
what happened.
I'm sure this is a wonderful time, and I wish everyone good luck on it. But it all sounds a bit too much like getting involved in business that I have no interest in being involved in. So I will respectfully pass on this one.
He's like, oh, well, that's, I suppose, a shame. Well, I guess you could stay around here. I'm sure Misbel would love to talk to you again. Or maybe not. But anyway, yeah. Like, I mean,
I'm sure Ms. Bell doesn't need to be bothered with the fact that I'm back. I'm sure that's a detail. She doesn't need to know the comings and goings of every person in Haven, does she? She's not Chancellor. She's not in charge around here, is she?
well, no, but I mean, yeah.
Wait, I thought she was.
Oh,
I thought she was in charge.
well, she was. There was a little bit of a disagreement over how the army was supposed to be run. So she's on the council. Got a pretty prominent place, but no, the in charge right now is actually Inarl. He's one of the former elven slaves from before. Apparently, I don't know, but he's.
Thank God it's not her.
Oh yeah, no, she's well, she's kind of up in her tower a lot, or taking care of herself, with the baby and all. So there is that, but yeah.
We're not going to be
Hold on.
those.
Sorry. We're rewinding a little bit. What was that?
What was what?
I think she means the baby.
The baby. Oh, her pregnancy. I mean, I guess you left before they announced that they're having a baby.
Oh, that poor wee little lad.
Or lad or laddess. No, laddess. That's
Lassie?
not lassie. Yeah, a wee little lad or lassie. I suppose, yes. Or more than one. I don't really know. Are twins a common thing in dwarven pregnancies? Would you know? Have you ever had kids? That seems like a weird question to ask.
I
I'm
put
sorry.
a hand on his shoulder.
As
might
soon
wanna
as-
stop with
she
that
goes
line of questioning.
quiet as soon as he asked if I had a child.
Yum.
You're like, it's kind
So,
of like her
as-
heart dropped a little bit.
Oh,
As we were
no.
discussing, I will be staying in Haven for the foreseeable future until Eliana is ready to leave again. I'll probably just stay on the ship, to be honest.
Well,
I've
I'm
gotten so used to it.
pretty sure they were going to, like, they were doing a circuit of the Hobgoblin cities. Like, when they come back, that was something that she was talking about. I mean, I had been asking her about it, but she wasn't really intent on like leaving her ship too much when she gets these places. She's very focused on what she's doing, but she's kind of interested in a little bit. But I mean, like, you guys are much more experienced with doing that kind of thing, But I guess you can talk to her about it. And I mean, if she's going that way anyways, like you guys, and he kind of gestures at the others, by all means. But and then he's like, wait, what time is it? And kind of looks around, and he's like, hard to tell time in this place. Is it morning or evening or and then you just hear a voice from above, like a laugh. It's like, haha, yeah, you're late. Oh shit. Okay, I have to go. I am so sorry. I will see you. I need
my book.
Oh yeah. Here, I would like my book back. And he kind of does the trade back, and he like starts running out, and then he stops in place and turns around. Hold, wait, and he grabs the book that Brolkin had thrown at him before, and then he leaves.
I forgot your cat.
That's fine. As the cat just meow, and then just poof, disappears.
Huh. That's Callum.
And that's where we'll leave it until next week.
Hey.
Yippee! Oh, one last
Interesting.
thing. Bralkin would have walked off. Just silently.
Kind of little.
Of that conversation.
Yeah, when he drops any mention of, have you ever had a kid? And yeah,
Oh, very touchy.
yeah, very touchy subject. But that's where we'll leave it until next week. And until next time, peace out.